778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. December is here. This year came and went. This year went by extremely quickly. So next thing you know, Christmas will be here and Kwanzaa will be here. All right. So as I was saying on today's show, we're going to, I posted an article today from TMZ, and it was a shocking story dealing with Clarence Avant. And I saw it on Instagram. First, I saw it on Instagram, and I had to read it a few times to make sure I read it correctly. Music legend Clarence Avant, wife Jacqueline, shot and killed during home invasion robbery. His wife was shot and killed during a home invasion robbery. Now, I first found out about Clarence Avant back in, it was about June of 2021 when the documentary came out about him. And the documentary is on Netflix, okay? And he's like the Black Godfather. He's the godfather of Black music. And I had not heard of him before the documentary, okay? This is a story here from TMZ, and we posted on our Facebook fan page today, and then also the story from NBC News. We posted on our Facebook fan page as well. Jacqueline Avant, wife of music legend Clarence Avant, fatally shot in Beverly Hills home. Okay, so here is Clarence Avant and his wife Jacqueline. So it's a tragic story. And, you know, I learned a lot about him from the documentary. I don't think I'd heard of him before the documentary came out. Black Godfather, that's on Netflix. It's a really, really good documentary. He knows some of everybody in entertainment and politics, things like this. So just watching the documentary about him, I mean, I learned so much. But this was when I saw the story on Instagram today. Actually, the documentary came out in 2019, around June of 2019. The documentary came out. Yeah, Black Godfather. Okay, so I saw it when it came out. All right, so we'll discuss this, and then also give you an update on we'll give you an update on the Oxford, Michigan high school shooting, another tragedy. And then with Rosa Parks, we know that today is the anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on the Cleveland Avenue bus in Montgomery, Alabama. December 1st, 1955, and we know that the Montgomery bus boycott is going to start December 5th, 1955, Monday morning, December 5th, 1955. All right. Well, on November 27th, I saw this story. I did not get a chance to get to it. November 27th, 1955, Rosa Parks attends a meeting about Emmett Till. Rosa Parks attends a meeting about Emmett Till December 5th, 1955. Okay, so we'll talk about that on today's show as well and what happened. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or a woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. All right, we're coming up here on the break. Be sure to visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for the online courses that I teach on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays. On Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. We have this at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We do the classes live. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch them anytime, even after the 10-week online course is over with. You can go back and watch the class. And then on Sundays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I teach ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa. Understand the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Kemet's original names of Egypt. So we deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. All right, we're coming up on a break. We'll deal with this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Bathroom break in 4 minutes. Stand by. Stand by, everybody. Bathroom break in 3 minutes. We're on commercial break. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. Bathroom break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021, and we are live. All right, so right before the break, we were talking about the tragic story out of Beverly Hills dealing with Clarence Avant. Clarence Avant, also known as the godfather of Black music. So I saw this story I think it was this morning. This morning that I saw the story, and I posted about it on Instagram as well as our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. And this was the first story that I saw dealing with this from it was from TMZ. Also, there's a good article from NBC News. We're going to go to clip number 1 here in just a minute. Shakita from NBC News with an update on what's going on in the dealing with the killing of Clarence Avant's wife. So, so let's see here. Let's back up. Clarence Avant, a legendary music exec who was just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a tragedy at home Tuesday night. It happened Tuesday night. A home invasion where his wife of 54 years, Jacqueline Avant, was shot and killed. TMZ has learned. Okay, so we got the news like early this morning. It happened in the Troutdale Estates, a high-end area neighboring Beverly Hills. Law enforcement tells TMZ Beverly Hills Police Department got a call at 2:30 a.m. For a home invasion. Got a call at 2:30 a.m. for a home invasion. The caller told the dispatcher someone had been shot. By the time they arrived, Jackie Avant had already been rushed to a nearby hospital where she was pronounced dead. A family source tells us the people who broke into the house fired shots and hit Jackie Avant. Clarence Avant was home at the time. We do not know if he was hurt. Okay, from the reporting from TMZ. Now, I want to go to this clip here from here's the Beverly Hills Police. This is from NBC News, giving an update on what took place. Let's go to clip number 1, Shakita. Okay, so the press play when you have it queued up. The latest update that we have is Beverly Hills Police Chief Mark Stanbrook held a press conference this afternoon. And while he shared a touching message from the Avant family, there wasn't much else new in terms of the case. Stainbrook said he couldn't, Beverly Hills Police Chief Mark Stainbrook said he could not yet speculate on how many suspects were involved or if they knew the Avant family. He did, however, say it did not appear to be a random attack, but he would not go further. Do we have the clip ready?
Approximately 2:23 a.m., the Beverly Hills Police Communications Center received a phone call regarding a shooting that had just occurred on the 1100 block of Maytor Place. Police units arrived and discovered a victim with a gunshot wound. The suspect or suspects were no longer on the scene. Beverly Hills Fire Department paramedics transported the victim to the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Unfortunately, the victim, identified as 81-year-old Jacqueline Avant, did not survive. The Avant family's contribution to the world of entertainment and to better communities across Los Angeles are unmatched. There are no words to express our profound sorrow for this immense loss for Jacqueline's husband, Clarence, their children, and the entire Avant family. The department is in contact with the Avant family to offer our support and the resources they may need. The family has asked us to share the following message. The entire Avant family wishes to thank everyone for their outpouring of love, support, and condolences for Jacqueline Avant. Jacqueline was an amazing woman, wife, mother, philanthropist, and a 55-year resident of Beverly Hills who has made an immeasurable positive contribution and impact on the arts community. She will be missed by her family, friends, and all of the people she has helped throughout her amazing life. The motives in this case are still unknown, and we are investigating all possible motives. And we will not speculate on anything that's out there, including if this was a robbery attempt or not. I want to assure and reassure the Beverly Hills community that your city remains safe and one of the safest in the nation. We continue to deploy all resources across residential neighborhoods and business districts. Crime of any type will not be tolerated in our city, and we will not rest until the suspect or suspects in this case are brought to justice.
Oh my God, this is disaster. This is so scary, unbelievable. There has been a lot of break-ins, but never a murder. This is so scary.
Okay, so that was from NBC News and a press conference that took place this afternoon. I want to switch over to the article from NBC News. We posted this article also on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, as well, this afternoon. Jacqueline Avant, wife of music legend Clarence Avant, fatally shot in Beverly Hills home. Police responded to calls about a shooting at Jacqueline and Clarence Avant's home about 2:20 a.m. Wednesday. We're going to go to clip 2 in a couple minutes, Shakita. So cue up clip 2, please. Jacqueline Avant, the wife of the music executive known as the Godfather of Black music, who's featured in the Netflix documentary Black Godfather. She was shot and killed in the couple's home early Wednesday. She was shot and killed, Jacqueline Avant, in the couple's home early Wednesday morning. Beverly Hills police responded to calls about a shooting at the home of Jacqueline and Clarence Avant at 2:23 a.m. They said in a statement, police said the victim was taken to a nearby hospital by paramedics but did not survive. Now, a spokesperson for Netflix confirmed that Jacqueline Avant, 81 years old, had been shot and killed. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos is her son-in-law. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos is her son-in-law. It is unclear whether Clarence Avant, according to NBC News, it's unclear whether Clarence Avant was home. I can't remember if that's the same thing that TMZ reported. I know they said it happened, let's see, but okay. According to NBC News, Clarence Avant was now home. And looking at the report here from TMZ, family source tells us the people who broke into the house fired shots and hit Jackie. Clarence was home at the time. We do not know if he was hurt. So there's a discrepancy in the reporting from TMZ and the reporting from NBC News. According to NBC News, it is unclear whether Clarence Avant was home, what NBC News is reporting. Now, potential suspects were not at the scene when officers arrived, police said. Quote, Jacqueline was an amazing woman, wife, mother, and philanthropist, and a 55-year resident of Beverly Hills who has made an immeasurable positive contribution and impact on the arts community, end quote, the family said in a statement read by Beverly Hills Police Chief Mark Stainbrook. Quote, she will be missed by her family, friends, and all of the people she has helped throughout her life, end quote. She will be missed by her family, friends, and all of the people she has helped throughout her life. Now, investigators and forensic specialists were processing the scene Wednesday afternoon, December 1st, Wednesday afternoon. Police Chief Mark Stainbrook said, all potential motives are being investigated, including a possible robbery attempt, he said. Quote, a lot of times people think of home invasion when it comes to robbing or burglarizing a residence. And so obviously someone went into the home. We just don't know what for. Obviously someone went into the home. We just don't know what for. What the purpose was or the motive was behind it. Okay, so right now they don't know the purpose or the motive They're still putting the pieces together to figure out what is behind this. But this, once again, is a tragedy. And I saw it on Instagram this morning. Then when I first saw the story, I said, wait a second, because I saw the story from TMZ on Instagram, and it said Clarence Avant, and I saw his picture. I said, wait a second. I said that's the guy from the Black Godfather documentary on Netflix that I saw. So then I started. So then I was reading about it, what happened, and I'm like, wait a second. So then I get on Google and I start checking sources. I Googled his name to make sure, because before I put information out, and before I retweet articles and things like this, I do some cross-referencing. So then I Googled his name and then looked at recent news articles, and then it started coming up that his wife had been killed this morning. So I said, wow. All right, we're going to continue this on the other side of the break, and I'm going to let you hear a clip of an interview back in June of 2019 talking about the documentary Black Godfather that's on Netflix that's about Clarence Avant. We'll also do an update on the Oxford, Michigan high school shooting that took place on Tuesday, the tragic high school shooting. We know a fourth high school student has died today from injuries sustained yesterday. And we'll also talk some about Rosa Parks. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, stand by, everybody. Stand by. Back from break in a few minutes. Stand by. Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. All right. Who still needs to register for the online courses I teach on Saturday? From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And understand the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Stand by. Yeah, CEO Netflix, Ted Sarandos, is her son-in-law. Back from break in 3 minutes. Stand by.
Show we deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Unfortunately, many people confuse what racism is. Racism is a power structure. It was laws and policies that put us in this predicament. It's going to be laws and policies that take us out. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the compass of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know.
We have it all on 910 AM Superstation. 910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. And what day? We got some snow yesterday, I think it was Tuesday. Tuesday's a blur. I was staying abreast on the Oxford, Michigan high school shooting on Tuesday. So Tuesday is a blur. Okay, welcome back to the show. So right before the break, we were talking about the tragic killing of Jacqueline Avant, wife of Clarence Avant. Clarence Avant, the black godfather of music, the godfather of black music. And it took place early this morning. It appears we know that the Beverly Hills police got a call 2:23 a.m. This morning, and it was apparently a home invasion, and she was shot, and she was rushed to a nearby hospital where she was pronounced dead. So back in so we have the article from TMZ as well as the one from NBC News. Going back to the article from NBC News, it appeared that a security guard was on duty. Police chief of the Beverly Hills Police Department, Mark Stainbrook, said a lot of times people think of home invasion when it comes to robbing or burglarizing a residence. And so obviously someone went into the home. We just don't know what for, what the purpose was, or the motive was behind it. End quote. Now, it appeared that a security guard was on duty, Mark Stainbrook said. Investigators are collecting and reviewing video. Jacqueline Avant, who once modeled in the Ebony Fashion Fair, married Clarence Avant in 1967, and the couple had two children. Their daughter, Nicole Avant, credited her mother with helping her father helping keep her father balanced in the 2019 documentary, The Black Godfather. I remember in the documentary them talking about Jacqueline Avant modeling in the Ebony Fashion Fair. I remember that from the documentary. It was a really good documentary. I encourage everybody to watch it. Quote, well, they've been married for 52 years, and my mom is really the one who brought to my father and our family the love and passion and importance of the arts and culture and entertainment, end quote, she said in the film. While my father was in it making all the deals, my mother was the one who gave me, for example, my love of literature, my love of filmmaking, my love of storytelling, end quote. Okay, now, serving as a manager, producer, and mentor, Clarence Avant, the godfather of black music, has been credited as the influencer who helped launch the careers of some of the most notable musicians of all time, including Bill Withers. Okay, Bill Withers, Ain't No Sunshine Till She's Gone. Bill Withers. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, 2021, with Lionel Richie giving a speech honoring him during the ceremony. Lionel Richie, formerly of the Commodores. Okay, Lionel Richie, dancing on the ceiling. Okay, once, twice, three times a lady. That Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie called Clarence Avant a teacher and master communicator. A teacher and master communicator. I mean, when you get somebody like, I remember when Lionel Richie came out with All Night Long, back 83, 84. I remember him at I remember Lionel Richie at the American Music Awards, when we won like all the awards that year. So you have somebody like Lionel Richie. Clarence Avant, Clarence Avant is somebody, this is what I found out from the documentary, because before the documentary, I really didn't know who he was. Okay. He's somebody behind the scenes, the guy that has the power. And he knows everybody from entertainers to politicians. He knows everybody. Quote, what he did for us, the sons and daughters of the Afro-American community, he was the one that brought us to some understanding of what the music business was all about, end quote, Lionel Richie said. And in the documentary about him, everybody's in the documentary. Everybody from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, everybody's in all the African American entertainers, everything. I'm just sitting there watching. I was like, this guy just knows everybody, and this guy is just like silent. A lot of people outside the business don't know his name until the movie came out. Former President Barack Obama said Clarence Avant was one of his favorite people in a video tribute that aired at the ceremony last month. Okay, Clarence Avant being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Quote, Clarence and others, they are really the bridge from a time where there was almost no opportunity to a time where doors began to open, President Obama said. They led the way in politics, in business, in the arts, in saying, no, make room for us. In saying, no, make room for us. Okay, so read this article here from, this is written by Diane Dasrith for NBC News. Jacqueline Avant, wife of music legend Clarence Avant, fatally shot in Beverly Hills home. Okay, so this is a tragedy. We'll give you updates on this story as we get them. But it's on Netflix. The Black Godfather. Watch that documentary. You won't regret it. It'll blow your mind. I'm gonna have to watch it again and take notes, because when I watched it before, I didn't take notes. So I'm gonna watch it again and take notes. All right, I want to go to this clip here. This is from MSNBC. This is from Politics Nation. Reverend Al Sharpton, June 1st, 2019. June 1st, 2019. Reverend Al did a segment dealing with this documentary. This is one of the ways I learned about the documentary, from watching this interview on Politics Nation. Clarence Avant, nicknamed the Godfather of Black music, had an indelible mark on the careers of countless artists for more than half a century. Let's go to clip 2, Shakita.
He was fearless, man. Absolutely fearless. We needed to know him because he was the gatekeeper. He knew everyone, everybody. Oh, man, he was too fly. One day helped to another. He became a powerhouse.
There's power that needs the spotlight, but there's also the power behind the scenes. The guys are rock in every way.
Here in the social media era, we toss the word influencer around, but as you just heard from performers, pro athletes, and even presidents, the original OG of Black Power Brokers is Clarence Avant, nicknamed the Godfather of Black music for his indelible mark on the careers of countless artists for more than half a century. And now his storied career has been given the Hollywood treatment by Netflix and filmmaker Reggie Hudlin, whose documentary, The Black Godfather, connects the dots between the legend and the luminaries that have kissed his ring over the years. Joining me now, the director of The Black Godfather, and certainly a mogul in his own right, filmmaker and entertainment executive, Reggie Hudlin. Reggie, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
The significance of Clarence Avant cannot be overstated. Every cultural icon, not only in Black music, but in music, has really had the behind-the-scenes help, counsel, or push by Clarence Avant. And many Americans don't know who he is until this film, but everybody in American culture and politics know exactly who he is and have gone there more than once, including me.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that stuns people when they see the film is how has he been shaping pop culture for 50 years, being involved in so many things I love in music and movies and sports and politics, but we don't know who he is. And it's a mystery, and the answer is he didn't want you to know who he is, because there's a power to fame, but sometimes there's a power to being behind the scenes, not looking for fame, but just looking to make a difference.
Now, I knew people in entertainment all of my life, even though my work was in civil rights and politics. And I mean, I was very close with James Brown, as you know, and Michael Jackson. And James Brown didn't defer to anybody, but he would tell me, go talk to Clarence Avant. What was this? He was bold. I saw in a sneak review of your documentary, which was extremely well done, that he would bust into people's offices without an appointment and stand up for artists. He had the kind of boldness that you never saw, particularly when we're talking about in the 60s and 70s and 80s, for a black man to go into a CEO's office when the music industry and the movie industry was all white. Some of it was alleged to have been mob connected, and he was as fearless as Quincy said.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Hey, pause it right there, Shakita.
I mean, he was a man of conviction. And he was also a man who...
Pause it right there. Just back it up about 30 seconds or a minute. All right. So we'll continue this on the other side of the break. This interview is from 2 years ago, June 2019, about the documentary when it came out, The Black Godfather. So when I read about this today, I said, y'all messed with the Black Godfather? I said, I don't think you want to do that. Okay. All right. We'll continue this another side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Stand by. All right. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. All right, we posted the link here. You can register for the online courses I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Also, we have a bundle pack where you can register for both classes for only $70. It's regularly $200 and it's regularly $130 each, regularly $260. You can register for both classes for only $70 total. This is we only have this promotion going on for 1 or 2 more days. What happened here? Stand by. I said I don't know who broke into the home, but you dealt with the wrong person. I said he may be the closest, not talking about criminality, but I talked to people who were familiar with Harlem in the 60s, and they said that Bumpy Johnson was the godfather of Harlem. Okay. So it's like Clarence Avant, he's like the guy, he has the power, he's the godfather. I'm not talking about criminality, but the juice that Bumpy Johnson had, that's like he's probably even above that. Clarence Avant's probably even above that. Okay, are we back? Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. All right, so I want to go back to this interview. Now, this interview is from June 1st, 2019, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, basically, from Politics Nation. And this dealt with the documentary right when it was coming out about Clarence Avant, okay? And the documentary is directed by Reginald Hudlin and Reverend Al Sharpton on his MSNBC show Politics Nation is interviewing Reginald Hudlin about this documentary, The Black Godfather, okay, that's on Netflix. Let's go back to this clip, Shakita.
Able to evolve over time. He starts off coming from Climax, North Carolina with a 9th grade education and ends up sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom of the White House. How does he do that? He does that by being tough, by being fair, by standing up for what's right, fighting for artists' rights, and not doing it for credit, not even doing it for money. He just did it because it was the right thing to do. And he was a person who was a master negotiator. And whether it was in the political world or the entertainment world, he could figure out, here's the common ground where we meet. And here's my red line where I don't compromise. And that is a welcome quality in any venue.
Now, he also had great political impact because the documentary shows how he helped Bill Clinton become president, how he was very helpful to Barack Obama, how he was helpful in Andrew Young running for Congress, the first black congressman in the South, how he helped all the way up to people like me, who, when we even were in something controversial, he'd have us to his house and invite people over. So his social and political impact was as equal to his cultural impact, and saw how they were connected.
Yeah, I mean, that ability to make people feel good. And even in disagreement, he would have a fierce negotiation battle. But then the next day, it's over for him. And now he's back to being your friend. And that ability, he didn't hold grudges. He was a guy who saw the matrix of it all. He saw the code and said, look, I know how to make this work. And he was able to truly be friends with people, and at the same time, he knew what he wanted to do, which was to help people, to help artists, to fight against injustice. And of course, when you talk about black people, that's a constant battle for injustice, but it wasn't limited to black people. He just wanted things to be fair for everybody.
Now, it comes out Friday, starts on Netflix, and what is it that you hope that young people, old people walk away after they see this? Because this is just not about a Godfather film for entertainment. There's a real message here. There's a real story here. What do you hope when people watch this that they walk away with, other than the overdue exposure to who Clarence Avant is in our culture?
Well, I'm really excited for people to see it because so many people feel frustrated they can't make a difference. Oh, it's who you know. I don't have the connections. I don't have the education. I don't have this or that. But this is a man who had nothing and made a way out of no way. And I know for myself, I'm very inspired by him. I was fortunate enough to spend 3 years of my life talking to Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Hank Aaron, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, David Geffen. These are the most accomplished people, you know, in our nation, and they all were helped or inspired by Clarence Avant.
And was willing to go on camera and talk about it. That in and of itself is unusual.
Absolutely. So I think when people see the film, they go, well, if he can do it, I can do it. If I have the willpower, the determination, I can have the same kind of drive and make the same difference that Clarence did. So that's why I don't care who you are. I think this is a movie that people need to see, and I think it can inspire you to be a better person after you see it.
And I think he shows the magic of the power of someone behind the scenes. I don't think that a lot of people understand that fame and influence and power don't always have to be connected. Here's a guy who worked at not being known, but got the job done over and over and over again. And you're right, he doesn't hold grudges. He'll call you up and cuss you out, and then call you the next day and say, Reverend, like he never cursed me out. That's Clarence Avant. Thank you, Reggie Hudlin. Black Godfather premieres Friday, June 7th on Netflix. Up next, take my final thoughts.
All right, pause it right there. Pause right there. Okay, cue up clip number 3. We're going to Oxford High School in Michigan for an update in just a second, WXYZ. Okay, so that was from June 1st, 2019. Director Reginald Hudlin is talking to Reverend Al Sharpton on Politics Nation about the documentary that was coming out then, the Black Godfather about Clarence Avant. All right, so we'll give you updates as we get them on the killing of Clarence Avant's wife and the home invasion. It's a tragic story, but watch that documentary because he knows everybody. He's helped everybody. He knows everybody. It was just the documentary just blew my mind. Sitting there watching it and not really knowing about him before I watched the documentary 2 years ago. Okay. We have an update here in the high school killing, the Oxford high school killing in Oxford, Michigan, which is about 35 miles away from Detroit. We know a fourth student, unfortunately, has passed away today. 3 were killed yesterday. The shooting took place on Tuesday, November 30th. 3 were killed yesterday, and 1 passed away today from their injuries. Let's go to WXYZ Channel 7, Shakita, for an update.
Grieving the 4 teens lost in the mass shooting here just yesterday. Kate Meir, Madison Baldwin, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling, all victims of what the prosecutor calls a premeditated attack. 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley, a sophomore, is now charged as an adult with 24 crimes, including murder and terrorism. We are told there is a mountain of evidence against this young man, including a video made just the night before and 30 spent shell casings here at Oxford High School. Our team coverage of all the latest developments begins tonight with 7 Action News reporter Jim Kurtzner and the suspect's first appearance in court today. Jim, fill us in.
Carolyn, we're going to have more on that video discovered last night in a minute, but I can tell you we've gotten the first vivid description about what happened inside the high school here in court from the assistant prosecutor arguing to the judge that Crumbley remain locked up. He is. The prosecutor telling the judge he saw the surveillance video inside the school himself this morning.
Honestly, Judge, I don't have the words to describe how horrific that happened on November the 30th. It depicted just before 12:51 p.m., this defendant entering a bathroom with a backpack. A minute or two later, he exited the same bathroom without the backpack, but with a gun in hand.
The assistant prosecutor told the judge it was over in a couple of minutes, but Crumbley came armed with a gun and armed with intent.
He methodically and deliberately walked down the hallway, aiming the firearm at students and firing.
The parents of Ethan Crumbley, Jennifer and James, were on the Zoom connection with their son's court hearing. Yesterday, we were told the dad told his son not to talk, and they were getting him an attorney. 2 attorneys today were court appointed. One of the charges is terrorism causing death. Prosecutor says the shooting continued.
After children started running away from the defendant, he continued down the hallway, again at a deliberate and methodical pace, pointing and aiming inside classrooms and at students who hadn't had the opportunity to escape.
Before the arraignment, the officer in charge
Shakita.
of the case told the
Pause
judge
right
about the evidence they found at Crumbley's house. The intent to kill.
All right, pause it right there.
Still no
Shakita.
motive. No reason why.
2 separate videos recovered from...
Okay, pause it right there. All right. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're going to keep broadcasting for a few more minutes and finish this clip. Our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. Our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. We're out of time here on 910 AM Superstation WFDF. We'll be back tomorrow. Friday, I'll be on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So we'll discuss that as well on our Sunday show. Remember, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. Stand by. Okay, let's go back to this clip here, and then we're going to squeeze in this story about Rosa Parks. We'll talk some more about Rosa Parks tomorrow, because we know today is the anniversary. December 1st is the anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on that Cleveland Avenue bus. But we're going to talk about it in a couple of minutes here. On November 27th, 1955, just a few days before she refused to give up her seat, Rosa Parks attended a meeting about Emmett Till, because Emmett Till had been killed a few months before. He was killed August 28th, 1955. Let's go back to this update on the Oxford High School shooting.
1 p.m., this defendant entering a bathroom with a backpack. A minute or two later, he exited the same bathroom without the backpack, but with a gun in hand.
The assistant prosecutor told the judge it was over in a couple of minutes, but Crumbley came armed with a gun and armed with intent.
He methodically and deliberately walked down the hallway, aiming the firearm at students
and firing.
The parents of Ethan Crumbley, Jennifer and James, were on the Zoom connection with their son's court hearing. Yesterday, we were told that dad told his son not to talk, and they were getting him an attorney. 2 attorneys today were court appointed. One of the charges is terrorism causing death. Prosecutor says the shooting continued.
After children started running away from the defendant, he continued down the hallway, again at a deliberate and methodical pace, pointing and aiming inside classrooms and at students who hadn't had the opportunity to escape.
Before the arraignment, the officer in charge of the case told the judge about the evidence they found at Crumbley's house. The intent to kill, but still no motive, no reason why.
2 separate videos recovered from Ethan's cell phone, taken in a search warrant, depicted a video made by him the night before the incident, wherein he talked about shooting and killing students the next day at Oxford High School. Further, a journal was recovered from Ethan's backpack, also detailing his desire to shoot up a school, to include murdering students.
Now, you might have been able to tell that Crumbley was wearing what appeared to be a bulletproof vest while he was in this Zoom hearing. He sat motionless while the judge read all 24 charges, including terrorism, murder, that he could spend up to life in prison. And she did agree with the prosecutor that he can be moved from juvenile detention to the main Oakland County jail for better security and so that he can be isolated. We are getting word there could be additional charges coming. 7 Action News reporter Simon Shaquette has that part of the story. Simon.
We know that owning a gun means securing it properly and locking it and keeping the ammunition separate and not allowing access to other individuals.
After extending her deepest gratitude to first responders, including sheriff's deputies, and expressing deep condolences to victims and their families, Prosecutor Karen McDonald announcing a list of charges, including 1 count of terrorism causing death, 4 counts of first-degree premeditated murder, 7 counts of assault with intent to murder, and 12 counts of felony firearm possession. The accused shooter charged as an adult, meaning the chance of life in prison. McDonald also adding this about the chance of more charges in light of learning the gun was purchased by the accused shooter's father just days prior.
We have to do better. How many times does this have to happen? How many times? It's possible there could be additional charges issued very soon when that investigation is reviewed and complete.
While a motive for the shooting at Oxford High yesterday remains unknown so far, the prosecutor was very clear in saying this was a planned attack carried out for the purpose of taking lives, and she intends to treat this case as if the victims were her own children.
We need to make sure and want to know that when we send our kid to school, they're safe.
The prosecutor says a lot of work continues to happen in terms of the investigation, and she will be updating the public just as soon as there are any more development. Live in Pontiac, Simon Shaquette, 7 Action News. Carolyn, back to you.
Thank you so much, Simon. The prosecutor awfully emotional today as she was talking about this case and talking about her community here. As investigators piece together what led up to this tragedy, we are learning more about the suspect, Ethan Crumbley. 7 investigator Heather Catallo is digging into the 15-year-old's background, and Heather joins us now with what she has learned so far. Heather?
Carolyn, I'm in the village of Oxford right now where the suspect lives. And just like sheriff's officials, police here telling me they had no advance warning about this attack. But we are now learning some very concerning information that school officials met with this. Ethan Crumbley faced a judge Wednesday, just a day after he's accused of gunning down his classmates at Oxford High School. As detectives search for clues about what led up to the shootings, the Oakland County Sheriff confirming what the 7 investigators have been learning from several sources, that Oxford High School officials met with the teen and his parents about concerning behavior just hours before the shooting.
We had no information from the schools, but we have since learned that the schools did have contact with the student the day before and the day of the shooting for behavior in the classroom that they felt was concerning. In fact, the parents were brought in the morning of the shooting and had a face-to-face meeting with the school.
Sheriff Michael Bouchard not revealing the topics discussed during that meeting, only that his liaison officer in the school was not told about it. Bouchard also confirming the school allowed Crumbly to stay in the building after that 10 a.m. meeting, and around 12:50 p.m., the shooting started. The sheriff previously acknowledged that a handgun shown on a social media account that's believed to belong to the suspect is the same type of weapon used in the murders. But law enforcement are also telling us the 15-year-old has no prior school discipline issues and no prior criminal record.
We had no prior context, and we had no prior information that this incident would occur. We haven't had any issues with that family or any weapons in the past.
The sheriff also telling us they're now going through mountains of evidence, including notebooks, the suspect's phone, as they try to piece together exactly what motivated this horrific attack. Live in Oxford, I'm Heather Catallo, 7 Action News. Now let's check in with my colleague, 7 investigator Ross Jones, with more on what the sheriff had to say today.
Heather, good evening. Sheriff Bouchard spent much of his press conference today trying to dispel many rumors that have been circulated on social media, separating fact from fiction one day after this horrific mass shooting. Now, Sheriff Bouchard said that there was no record that the suspect had been bullied at Oxford High School or
Back. Computer went out on me. Stand by. Let's go back to the clip from WXYZ Channel 7 in Detroit.
bullied at Oxford High School or had reported any bullying.
Yes, they're now going through mountains of evidence, including notebooks, the suspect's phone, as they try to piece together exactly what motivated this horrific attack. Live in Oxford, I'm Heather Catallo, 7 Action News. Now let's check in with my colleague, 7 investigator Ross Jones, with more on what the sheriff had to say today.
Heather, good evening. Sheriff Bouchard spent much of his press conference today trying to dispel many rumors that have been circulated on social media, separating fact from fiction one day after this horrific mass shooting. Now, Sheriff Bouchard said that there was no record that the suspect had been bullied at Oxford High School or had reported any bullying behavior. There was also no history of any discipline by the school. The sheriff said there was no evidence that the 15-year-old sophomore had sought treatment for any mental health conditions and was not in the process of doing so. And Bouchard said he has viewed the horrifying surveillance video inside of the school, saying it appears that victims were shot at randomly and were not specifically targeted. He did not release any of that video today, but described the evidence prosecutors will be using in court.
He came out of the bathroom, began shooting, moved through hallways and back through hallways, and was apprehended in the hallway. Never went into a room. If you weren't hit by a bullet, doesn't mean you weren't terrorized that day and won't have nightmares about it the rest of your life. Whether you're a parent, a teacher, or a student in that class, going through that building in the wee hours of this morning, looking at the disarray in the classrooms and the backpacks strewn across the floor, that had to have been an absolutely terrorizing moment in anyone's life.
The shooter fired 30 rounds inside of the school and still had 18 bullets left when he was confronted by deputies. There is no consolation for victims' families tonight, but this could have been much worse. Carolyn?
It could have been, Ross. He was certainly loaded to kill. And you got to think that investigators are going to speak to these students who said they were warned and did not come to school yesterday because they thought something horrible was going to happen here at Oxford High. But the investigation, of course, continues. Sheriff Mike Bouchard will be with us live tonight on 7 Action News at 7 to talk about this investigation. You can watch our live interview with him in our upfront segment. That's tonight at 7 right here on Channel 7. We also want to devote much of our newscast tonight to the victims lost in this tragedy. 4 young lives lost and countless others forever changed. Dave, it is certainly important we come together as a community tonight to remember these young men and young women. The prosecutor, even today, I think you heard her speak live, Dave. She didn't even want to say this young man's name, but once she said, we have to focus on the families. We have to focus on the victims. And with faith, I hope this community can heal. Of course, it's going to take a lot of time to even finish the investigation, but of course, for everybody to wrap their arms around each other and heal. Dave?
Bright, young, talented people lost, and our wish is certainly that the others will all recover from this trauma that occurred inside Oxford High School. Carolyn, thank you.
Okay, so that's from Channel 7 News today. Extensive update, WXYZ Channel 7 News. Great reporting. Great. I haven't seen Carolyn Clifford in the field in years. Well, I saw her downtown. They were recording down. I live in downtown Detroit, so they were recording. They were down in Campus Martis, and they were recording for the Thanksgiving Day parade, something dealing with Thanksgiving Day parade, Christmas or something. I saw her down there. I was walking by, went downtown to get a haircut, but she's an anchor for WXYZ Channel 7, so usually you don't see her in the field. Okay, so this is a tragedy. We'll keep you updated. This is a crazy story. Still don't have a motive. Okay. There were rumors about bullying, but nothing concrete that he was bullied. So we know a fourth student passed away today as well. I did a post from Fox Channel 2 News here in Detroit. We did that update today. Okay, somebody said they can't hear. You should be able to hear. All right. Can you all hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Yeah, you should be able to hear. Okay. If we look at this article here quickly from now, also look at the reporting from Detroit News as well. DetroitNews.com. Oxford High School suspect detained. Oxford High School suspect detailed plans to kill in videos. Journal, authorities say. Oxford High School suspect detailed plans to kill in videos. Journal, authorities say. Okay, so check this out from Detroit News as well. Okay. A day before the shooting, school officials spoke with the suspect, Ethan Crumbley, on over concerning classroom behavior, and discussed the issue again with him and his parents in the hours before Tuesday's alleged rampage, Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said. All right, so read this as well. Reporting from DetroitNews.com. The 4 students that were killed are Hannah St. Juliana, 14 years old, Madison Baldwin, 17, Tate Meyer, 16, and Justin Schilling, 17 years old. All right, lastly, I want to get to this last story. Want to get to this last story here. So I saw this from the Zen Education Project a couple of days ago. I look at this date in history, things like this. This deals with Rosa Parks and Emmett Till. And when you research Rosa Parks, you find out that on December 1st, 1955, when she refused to give up her seat on the Cleveland Avenue bus, she was thinking about Emmett Till. Okay, she was thinking about Emmett Till. And just a few days prior, she had attended a meeting about Emmett Till. Okay, so we know today is the anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on the Cleveland Avenue bus, December 1st, 1955. All right. And I want to deal with this story here. We ran out of time, didn't have a chance to get to it a few days ago when I saw it, because we were dealing with so much and there's only so much I can do. But this comes from the Zen Education Project, November 27th, 1955. Rosa Parks attends meeting about Emmett Till. Rosa Parks attends meeting about Emmett Till. Okay, now Emmett Till was killed in August 28th, 1955. Emmett Till was lynched by J.W. Millam and Roy Bryant. On November 27th, 1955, Rosa Parks, on November 27th, 1955, Rosa Parks attended a packed mass meeting at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church to hear Dr. T.R.M. Howard speak. Dr. T.R.M. Howard. And here's a picture of Dr. T.R.M. Howard here on the right. Dr. T.R.M. Howard was the lead organizer in the Emmett Till case of 14-year-old African-American boy Emmett Till from Chicago, who had been murdered near Money, Mississippi. Now, 4 days later, on December 1st, 1955, when bus driver James Blake told Rosa Parks to give up her seat on that Cleveland Avenue bus, quote, she said, quote, pushed as far as she could be pushed, end quote. She refused. Pushed as far as she could be pushed, she refused. This story is an excerpt from the Rosa Parks biography website by Jean Theo Harris, and it says Rosa Parks was sickened, angry, depressed, horrified. She had been fighting for years to get justice for Black people under the law. Reese Taylor and Gertrude Perkins, who had been raped. Now, one of the things Rosa Parks did for the NAACP is she investigated sexual assaults on against African Americans, and she also investigated cases where, you know, an African American man was said to have raped a white woman or something like that. All right, but she investigated that on behalf of the NAACP. There's a good article from this one from history.com, I think. This one from history.com, and it talks about Rosa Parks investigating the sexual assault of Reese Taylor. This one here. So usually during Dr. King Day, or usually during African American History Month, you know, when we talk about Rosa Parks, they don't talk about this regarding Rosa Parks. They just talk about a bus, and that's about it. But this article right here from history.com, the official website of the History Channel. Before the bus, Rosa Parks was a sexual assault investigator. Before the bus, Rosa Parks was a sexual assault investigator. Why has history left out this piece of Rosa Parks' story? Why has history left out this piece of Rosa Parks' story? Because if you knew more about her, you want to do more research about Rosa Parks, okay? And not the mythology that has been taught to us about Rosa Parks. Revered as a civil rights icon, Rosa Parks is best known for sparking the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott, but her activism in the African American community predates that day. She joined the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, in 1943, 12 years before that fatal commute. In her first years in the organization, she worked specifically on criminal justice and its application in Alabama communities. Criminal justice and its application in Alabama communities. One part of this was protecting African American men from false accusations and lynchings. The other part was ensuring that African Americans who had been sexually assaulted by white people could get their day in court. This is Rosa Parks. This particular issue was close to Rosa Parks' heart, as in 1931, a white male neighbor had attempted to assault Rosa Parks. Okay, in 1931, a white male neighbor had attempted to assault Rosa Parks. Here's a picture of her. Rosa Parks, who once refused to move to the back of the bus in Montgomery, Alabama, then worked on the staff of U.S. Congressman John Conyers of the 1st District in Detroit, Michigan. Now, this picture here is from March 28th, 1971 of Rosa Parks. She had to leave after the Montgomery bus boycott. Okay, she was still getting death threats. So she's having to leave Montgomery, Alabama. Okay, and she comes to Detroit, and Congressman John Conyers gave her a job in his office. Rosa Parks resisted and later said of the incident, I was ready to die, but give my consent, never, never, never. Okay, this is the assault on her in 1931. That incident was on her mind when she traveled to Abbeville, Alabama in the autumn of 1944 to deal with a disturbing case chronicled in the new movie, The Rape of Reese Taylor. So this article came out when the movie about Reese Taylor came out. And Rosa Parks investigated the sexual assault of Reese Taylor. Okay, the African-American woman who was gang raped by white men. All right, so read the rest of this article here from history.com, official website of the History Channel. Before the bus, Rosa Parks was a sexual assault investigator. Before the bus, Rosa Parks was a sexual assault investigator. Okay, let's go back to this piece from the Zen Education Project. All right, see, this is the type of research I do. All that gossip and who slept with who and all this the nonsense. I don't have time for that stuff. You know, we don't do it that here on this show. I really don't have time for that. Now, Rosa Parks was sickened, angry, depressed, horrified. She had been fighting for years to get justice for African Americans under the law. She had been fighting for years to get justice for African Americans under the law. Reese Taylor and Gertrude Perkins, who had been raped, Viola White and Claudette Colvin, who had been arrested for resisting on the bus. She had sought protection for African Americans and particularly African American men from false charges, like the Scottsboro Boys and 16-year-old Jeremiah Reeves, a young African American minister that Raymond Parks knew had been killed for appearing to make an advance at a white woman, as had their neighbor Hilliard Brooks for resisting on the bus. As had a young African American minister that Raymond Parks knew had been killed for appearing to make an advance at a white woman, as had their neighbor Hilliard Brooks for resisting on the bus. Now, Rosa Parks was discouraged. Most of these cases just got swept under the rug. With Emmett Till, people had brought enough attention, an incredible amount of attention. So there had actually been a trial, and yet still Emmett Till's killers were acquitted. They were acquitted by an all-white jury. I think the jury deliberated for about 45 minutes, something like that. And when they deliberated for about 45 minutes, and they acquitted Roy Bryant and J.W. Millum of killing Emmett Till. Then a few months later, Roy Bryant and J.W. Millam do an interview for Look magazine. They were paid $4,000 for this interview. In the interview, they admit to killing Emmett Till in the interview. But since they were acquitted in court because of double jeopardy, they couldn't be tried again. All right, now, and yet Emmett Till's killers were acquitted. These men who had killed a 14-year-old went free. Now, here's a picture of Mamie Till, Emmett Till's mother. And you have, now this is Congressman Charles Diggs from Michigan, African-American Charles Diggs from Michigan. When you watch Eyes on the Prize, the original Eyes on the Prize, they deal with Charles Diggs is light-skinned, wearing glasses. He's next to Dr. T.R.M. Howard. I think that's Dr. T.R.M. Howard there. Yeah. Okay. Willie Nash Carthen on the left, Walter Billingsley, Dr. T.R.M. Howard right here. Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mother. U.S. Representative Charles Diggs from Michigan right here. And Mandy Bradley. Okay, so if you watch the original Eyes on the Prize, it opens dealing with the lynching of Emmett Till, and then they deal with the trial of Emmett Till in the documentary. And in the courtroom, they had a segregated courtroom. They had African Americans on one side, white people on one side. Okay, and African American reporters from the north went down south to Mississippi to cover the trial, and it blew their mind what was going on. Okay, and they talk about it in the documentary. It blew their mind, the segregation that was taking place there in Mississippi. Now, many years later, she told Emmett Till's, and hold on, let me back up. I think that's okay. These men, okay, so many years later, she told Emmett Till's mother that she had thought of him at this moment. Okay, Rosa Parks, many years later, told Emmett Till's mother that she had thought of Emmett Till at this moment when she refused to give up her seat on the bus. In key ways, then, the Montgomery bus boycott was not just a reaction to bus segregation, but also to this pattern of injustice in the criminal justice system, and Rosa Parks' determination to take a stand against it. Now, Rosa Parks understood that it was not just about this lynching or this acquittal, not just the lynching of Emmett Till or the acquittal of his killers, but about a structure that allowed and protected discrimination, segregation, the differential treatment of African Americans under the law. Okay, so this is, see, the worst thing you could think is they had a bus boycott because they wanted to sit in the front of the bus with white people. That means you haven't really researched like the history of segregation and how oppressive it was, and the white domestic terrorism and the violence that was inflicted upon us to impose the laws of segregation. All right, so read this piece here from the Zen Education Project, November 27th, 1955. Rosa Parks attends meeting about Emmett Till. All right, now, if you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN Show. We're here 6 days a week. Y'all know that already. We're here 6 days a week. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, etc. This is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN Show, SHOW through Cash App. When you go to it, it'll say Michael and show my picture there. These other ones here are fake African History Network Cash App accounts. So I did not set those up. I'm still trying to find out who did. It's not me. This is our official Cash App tag, $ the AHN Show, SHOW. And it says Michael and shows my picture there when you go to it. All right. Also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, click on the yellow donate button as well. Now, you can still register for the online courses I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. And we deal with a lot of this history. We get in depth into it because these are 10-week online courses. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. It's a 10-week online course, and we deal with some of the history leading up to the Civil War starting. We start in 1803, the Louisiana Purchase of 1803, and we go through our history, look at what leads to the Civil War starting in 1861, and then we deal with the Civil War, Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877, Jim Crow era, World War I, World War II, Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement, Great Migration, etc. All right, so the class is regularly $130. Is on sale right now. It's on sale $50, and then the other class that I teach is Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade. That's on Sundays. Another 10-week online course, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on sale, $60, regularly $130. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We have a course bundle pack right now. You can register for both classes for only $70. There's a $260 value. Okay. As soon as you register, you can watch the classes we did last week. We have archive classes, and then you'll be ready for class this weekend. All right. And then even after the 10-week online course is over with, you can still watch the full class. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We also posted the link here so you can register for the course bundle. All right, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.